Thank you for joining us. If you're looking to start a print-on-demand business, then you've come to the right place. We've gotten a lot of frequently asked questions, and tonight we're going to go through what we consider the most frequently asked questions for people just getting started. We have started this Wingman University channel to help people build print-on-demand businesses and add additional income streams. We are not gurus. We've failed a lot, had a lot of successes, and we just want to use our knowledge to help you go further faster.
So last week we talked about kind of the two pillars of our business, or the things that we see as two pillars in our business, which were taking action and being consistent. Those are two very important things to both me and Stephen. And I think one way that we've talked about doing that is this idea of just getting 1% better. It allows you to kind of break down where you want to be, but not feel overwhelmed that you have to get there tomorrow. So being able to take action every day, just 1% better, whatever you did yesterday, try to get a little bit better at it today, and doing that consistency, then you're going to see growth in your business. And that has been so true for me and Stephen over the last 4-ish years that we've actually been like partnered together. We've both been on our own separate journeys for longer than that. The last 4 years, we've actually, I would say
most of my journey started with me telling you what to do. So
yes, I would say this is actual business now that we've been working on. And that's kind of the mantra and the pillars that we've had in our business. So I gave some practical advice last week specifically for KDP and Merch by Amazon, if those are the two platforms or one or the other that you're focused on. And those benchmarks are just some ways to see if you are being consistent and taking action. And so the first one was getting that first listing up. That's a good benchmark to hit. Okay, I started this journey. And then after you do that for a while, getting to 100 listings, which may seem overwhelming after you just made your first listing. But again, if you're being consistent and you're taking action daily, then you can get those to 100 listings. And for whatever reason, we've just found that to be kind of a magical number where things start to click in your head and the gears start working together and stop like halting all the time. And then after you hit that number, the next benchmark that we'd like you to look for is getting your first sale. So you might get it before you make 100 listings, which would be awesome. But definitely after you make 100 listings, you should have a good grasp of what's going on and be able to look at kind of the metrics and things and figure out how you can get your first sale. So no longer just getting eyes on what you're doing, but actually converting those eyes. And so that was specifically for Merch by Amazon and KDP, but that can also be applied to, kind of anything that you're doing. As January is a great time of year to start moving into different platforms and trying out new areas of your business. You can kind of use those same benchmarks. So the first one for us, we use the example of YouTube, as this is a fairly new platform for us. You can see we're still working out some of the bugs and kinks and things here, but for us, it was getting that one video up, just in this kind of new style, a little bit better cameras and lighting, not perfect quite yet, but we're getting there. And so after we made that first video, we're like, okay, let's get to 100 videos, which I think we've surpassed at this point, which is cool.
Yeah, we've actually blown that out of the water because we've been so consistent.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot more videos the last couple of weeks. But after we've passed 100 videos, now we're kind of looking for that like unit of success. We're not quite sure what that looks like. At least I personally am not sure what that looks like on YouTube. But that's the next thing that we're doing. Now that we kind of have the gears in place, everything's working smoothly, we can get these videos out pretty consistently. Now we're looking at the data and seeing what we can do with this data and which direction we can head. So, it might not be a one-to-one scale of like, this is exactly how you move through every new platform or area that you're going into, but just having some of those benchmarks to hit that will kind of push you along as you are learning, whatever new thing you're going after. So that's what we talked about last week. Again, those two pillars were taking action and being consistent. But this week we did have a bit of a different layout for the show, I guess, where I'm gonna ask Stephen some questions and he's gonna answer them, and I'll throw in some color commentary as well. But I'll let you take back over until you want me to ask that first question.
Yeah, I guess these are questions that we pulled from the different Facebook groups that we are in. Something that I am working on in 2020 is just consolidating a lot of our information. That's why we are trying to move a lot more stuff over to YouTube. We're in a lot of different Facebook groups. We give a lot of advice to different people at different levels. I think we need to, on YouTube, kind of have this beginner path so that we can help you guys scale your business is. Nathaniel's taking a new journey with Shopify. We have a little bit of information on merch. We have probably a little bit more on KDP. Those are two places that I want to focus on to give everybody kind of a solid base, because I think that's the best place to start your POD journey. But these questions are pulled from our communities and then consolidated. We also want to do kind of the same thing on YouTube or on Facebook as we are on YouTube, is consolidating everything to have one group. So that group is not set up yet, but we will be working with some people to get a Facebook group together, and then we'll start promoting that for our community, so people are watching our YouTube content can go over there and join in on the conversations that we're having all over the place, because it's fun to interact with so many people, but it just gets a little tiring when I'm trying to juggle so many different places, because then somebody will ask me a question and say, oh, I think I saw this information, where is it? And I go, I don't know. Now at least I can point you to YouTube. So Nathaniel, if you want to ask that first question, and then I guess I'll answer it, and then I'll have you answer it.
Yes.
Answer chat. And if anybody has questions in chat, feel free to leave them below. We'll try to get through. We'll see. We have some pulled aside. If we see one in chat, then you can flip them out, Nathaniel, however you feel.
Okay. Just a side note, this is on your personal YouTube channel and not the business YouTube channel.
So that's why I felt like it was different.
Start
that's okay.
over?
No, it's fine.
Okay, just keep running with it. Okay.
Yeah, because then I'll just pull it and put it over.
All right, sounds good. All right, so the first question that we pulled from these audiences that we've been a part of for some time now is, I'm looking to start print-on-demand business in 2020. What is a better place to start, merch or KDP?
I guess for me, they're very similar. So if you're looking for a place to start and you're more comfortable with t-shirt design, or you're more comfortable with books, I would just lean into that one. Merch is not the only place to sell t-shirts. You get to tap into Amazon's organic traffic. So that's why, we push it so much, but you can go, Nathaniel, you can ramble off in a minute, but I would suggest find the skills that you have. If you're better at writing, or you can do low to no content, or you enjoy books, and that's something that when you do research, you'll stay motivated because you enjoy it a little bit, go down the KDP route. And if you're more into t-shirt design, or you have a little bit of background in that, I would lean more towards selling mostly clothing to start, and just pick one of those paths. To me, they're very similar. I wouldn't necessarily say that's where you want to build your business, but they are great places to start so you can earn and learn as you pick up different skills. Nathaniel rambled off a few of them, but get your first sale, get 100 listings up, start building a process, start better understanding keywords, start better understanding the art, find your niche that you can kind of go after. Those, I think, are the key elements. But either one, I would figure out what you feel more comfortable with and then lean into either one of those. Merch by Amazon has a, what is it called? Application process. Yeah. Mm-hmm. KDP does not. So that might also hinder your ability to get into one or the other. But like I said, if you want to lean more into shirts, Nathaniel, if you want to make some suggestions for other places that they can put up shirts or just clothing design.
Yeah, definitely Redbubble is like the next highest income for us as far as print on demand goes. So I would suggest looking there. And also like Printful integrates with a couple of other different marketplaces, and there's a ton of them, but I would stick kind of with Redbubble. That's the one that I've had the most success with, and ease of getting people started over there. And I'm actually really blown away by the quality of products that they have there. I think that's what's kept me around on Redbubble so long. But I did want to, I guess, add a little bit to this question. I personally know that the benefits are similar, but looking at the two platforms based on like the benefits of one or the other, would you say there's a big difference there from your perspective? If, you know, like one is, I know that one isn't like better than the other, but I'm just curious to see what you would say as far as like either longevity of using the platform or any of your thoughts on that, just so people can make a more educated decision. Like if they're like, both of them kind of excite me the same, are the benefits different on either of those platforms?
I guess if you're more concerned about just doing art, I would suggest maybe merch, because the dollar amount might be higher for just doing designs. Low to no content products on KDP, because there's so much competition, are going to be low dollar profit products. If you can create better internals, then the books can be more profitable than shirts, but both of them have a lot of competition. And again, I think for me, my answers are changing because the more people I'm helping, it's like, find which one you're going to be consistent at, because that seems to trump everything else. If you're just like, hey, I can get designs out, I like doing the research, I'm going to be a lot more consistent on merch, do that. If you feel like books, you're going to be a lot more consistent, because both ones you're going to be running into a lot of problems. You're just getting started. There's going to be a lot of things that come up that frustrate you, and you're going to have to get over those hurdles. Find which one you can stay motivated on and go hard on that one. And we're here. That's why we built this community. Ask. Because when we were doing it in the beginning, there was not a lot of people to ask. And even the people that were asking were like, oh, we don't remember, think about this. And the platform's changing all the time. So we don't even remember what it was like to get started. Because people were asking me, hey, what amount of listings do you have or slots do you have on merch? And I was like, I think you start with 100. And then somebody was like, no, you only start with 10. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't even remember, because we've had pro accounts for so long. So get with people around you that are doing the same thing. So maybe a lot of your people that you're working with are doing merch. I would suggest doing that one so you can work together, or KDP, vice versa. This is a unanswerable question, but I would suggest whichever one you feel more confident with that you can stay consistent with is what I would suggest.
Yeah, I feel like that's
one is not better than the other, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost an answer to question number 2. But question number 2 is, what should I focus on when getting started?
Ooh. Yeah, I guess leaning on whatever skills that you feel you have to start with. Me, I know, because I've been selling online for a long time, I'm better at the data and analytics. I know Nathaniel is the complete opposite, where art and his style is a lot more of his skill set. It might be hard if you're just getting started because you have to learn everything, but learning one or the other to focus in on is where I would suggest focusing your efforts. Like, more than like what product should I have, or what platform or niche should I go after, building your skills is what your main focus should be when you're getting started. And then once you kind of have your feet under you, and then leaning into the thing that you feel you're better at, and then slowly adding additional pieces to your business. Don't try to overwhelm yourself. In the beginning, you will feel overwhelmed because there's so many things to know, but just slowly pace yourself and pick skills to start with to get better at in the beginning.
Makes sense. Yeah, again, a lot of these questions, it's hard to give like general answers, because I think the thing, and I've said this a lot, the thing that I love most about working online is, and particularly with print on demand, is that we can use the skills that we personally have. So instead of trying to force you into, this is exactly the business plan that we have laid out for you, it's more like, think about the things that you like to do, because that, like Stephen said, is going to help you be more consistent. And that consistency is what's going to allow you to actually expand your business and see some growth, over the years of doing this, rather than just, that was fun for 6 months and then I'm never going to touch it again. But to jump into the third question that we have from our communities and the Facebook groups that we're in, we're seeing people say like, hey, I'm finally having sales on merch, but how do I know what to do next with those sales?
Yeah, I guess this one is a little longer to answer because there's so many things to take into it.
Valleys you could go down.
Yeah, but I would say either one, merch or KDP, it's a little difficult to know what like the next right step is, because there's not a lot of data or analytics. This is why I'm loving YouTube right now, because you can dig in and there's all kinds of like micro data that you can look at and get a better feel for what actually helped make that video go a little bit more viral than the other ones, or get a little bit more traction. With merch especially, the analytics in there are not good. Like, you can kind of see your sales, but you have no idea with the like 80% of the other stuff that didn't sell. Why didn't it sell? Like, what did it get ranked at least? Were people seeing it? Did they not like the art? Like, that's all stuff that you kind of have to do manually. And I guess I'll be bringing on more people to show more of this. Like, how do we track this stuff? How do we look into stuff and figure out kind of to be able to manage your account better, to know what's best for you, but looking at patterns. I think if you're starting to get sales, you can start looking at your account and start trying to uncover. Almost, this reminds me of like playing with a Rubik's Cube when I was little. You pick up the Rubik's Cube, it has all the colors on there, you start playing with it, you mess it up, then you're like, oh, okay, I have no idea how this goes back together. Somebody might be able to tell you like, here's the next best thing that you should do, but it's more like you have to learn it. Look at the Rubik's Cube, see what placement everything is in, and then see the pattern, and then put it back together. It's almost like you have to decode your own listings, like what was working, what wasn't working. And then I think if you do that enough, and it's not going to be like I look at my account and know exactly what to do tomorrow. It's going to be a process. It took us 8 months. I know this might sound like the going to school uphill in the snow both ways story at this point because we say it so often, but it took us 8 months of 12-hour days sitting, me and Adeno, back to back in a hot office to figure out what worked and what didn't work. And that was just to help us build a process. It wasn't like we did this 8 months and then we were like, oh, we're off to the moon. Everything is successful now that we touch. It was just to build a process to be able to see patterns, to know what worked best for us. And I think we're trying to speed that up because there are some things that you can look at. How much competition? How much sales are there? Those are like kind of benchmarks that you should look at when you're doing research to know if it's worth your time going after. But going back to the question, what should you be doing? Look for patterns inside your own account. Think of it kind of like a puzzle where you have to solve it and know that it's going to take time so that you can best understand what is happening and then what you should do to react to what's happening.
Yeah, I'm stuck on this Rubik Cube idea. I really like that analogy, just because I do feel like that's such a good visual aid for what we're able to do. For whatever reason, as soon as you said that, I have like a friend that everywhere we go, he has a Rubik's Cube with him and he's able to like solve it, and he always gets people like oohing and ahhing over him. And then for me, it's just like, okay, he's going to do the Rubik's Cube thing again.
Here goes his one bag of trick again.
Yeah, so it's just like it's kind of a played out trick. Like, yes, I understand he can do it. It's cool. But I feel like that's kind of what we've done here, with our print on demand business, is like we've found success with it, and we can talk about the success. And even if we do like over the shoulder calls or the 10-minute listing or anything, it's like, look, I can find this idea, I can make this shirt around it, I can put it up and we'll have sales on it. And it just seems like this like really cool fancy thing that we can do. And it's, it seems so easy when we're doing it, but then you go and try and do it for yourself. Even picking up the Rubik's Cube, sometimes you can even rotate it the wrong way and like break the thing, and you're like, oh geez. So I think that's a really good analogy of just like, you have to get comfortable with your account, your way of creating listings, your process before you can go out and do things where it's just like, okay, 5 minutes, like me and Steven both, we have our own system of getting there, but both of us in 5 minutes could make a listing very quickly now. And it's just so ingrained in us because we've been doing this thing for so long and put so many hours into it. So I really like that idea. Maybe that's another video on its own, but I'll let it die here.
Yeah, but I guess going back to the patterns, like I don't want to just throw that out without giving actionable advice, because I know Nathaniel's constantly getting on me about that. Like your answers are so abstract. I'm like, I'm working on it. But I think to look at your own listing and see like what colors are selling best for you, what sizes, what niche are you going after? Can you decode your own listing to find the keywords that you think people were going to your listing and finding? Is it more men's? Is it youth? Like just looking at your account and just trying to put the pieces together. It's not easy, especially in the beginning, especially because on merch sometimes, like if multiple sell, you have to actually open up the drop down bar and then like look actually into it to see all the information. But I would say for us, merch, more black shirts are sold on merch. Other platforms that we sell on, other colors are stronger, along with like the style of art. Is it text-based? Is it text and a design? Is it full design? Like just be able to look at your account objectively and see if you can find patterns in what's selling for you.
Yeah, Michelle's saying in chat that the modern Rubik's Cubers use algorithms.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the similar thing that we can do with our businesses. We can look at it and say, oh, because it's doing this, we now understand what's going on. But you kind of have to get there and practice putting those listings up and seeing results and all of that before you can fully understand the big picture that's going on there. But let's move into the fourth question that we pulled from one of these groups. And this person was saying they started playing around with print on demand last year, but this year they want it to be a bigger part of their business. And what is the best way to scale a print on demand business? I know that's a packed question, but.
Yeah, I guess I don't think there's a right way. I think as we help more people and grow our own business on multiple platforms, I'm learning that there is not a right way. We have a process that we've built, and I guess that would be my answer to that question. Like, how do you scale your business? Build a process and start trying to build those into jobs that you can then hire out, because that's what we did. Now we don't necessarily work on our POD business. We have teams of people doing research. We have teams of people doing art, and then we're putting those products across multiple platforms and product lines and going after certain niches. But I would say if you're looking to scale your business, find a process. It's not, again, this is not like you figure it out and then you're done. We took the 8 months, 12-hour days to figure out what worked best for us and then built a process from it. We have a name for it now. We did not in the beginning, and even like the first 2 years of doing this, we didn't have a name for it. As we go out and teach more, we've figured out ways to name things that we're doing. I call our wingman approach discover, understand, serve, because what we're trying to do is discover an audience, a niche, a sub-niche to go after, to target, then understand them, learn what they like, what they don't like, the keywords, the colors, the designs, and then serve them the best way we can. What platforms are they on? Where do they mostly hang out? How do we advertise to them? Just like learning and building a customer avatar, but through POD. Because we used to run a ton of PPC ads. We used to spend a lot of money to gather like customer information so that we can better target them. It's almost like we flipped paying all that money for PPC and replaced it with just putting up products on POD. We put a lot of shirts out. We put a lot of books out just for feelers. And it's almost like we're running ads, but instead of paying for the ads, we get paid from customers actually purchasing that stuff. Then we take that data, I was going to say synthesize it, but we take that information, we process what worked, and then go back after and double down and target that market better with better products, with better information, and then build a customer avatar. And then that's how we build out a business around that niche that we tested in the beginning, learn more about, and then figured out how to better target them.
So I pulled this question because I knew that there was going to be a lot of theory in there and you breaking down kind of the bigger picture of what we're able to do. But I think this question is good for all my people who want practical advice out there. And so this person was asking, you talked a lot about consistency and taking action last week, but my question is, what are some good print-on-demand habits to have in 2020?
Yeah, I guess these are a little more open-ended. And I guess we should be having a little bit more discussion about these. So like when I'm answering them, I guess you just even asking different probing questions so I can elaborate a little bit more. Okay. But I think to answer like what are your best habits, it is that find a routine that works for you. If you want to watch a long process, you can watch me and my mom. I helped my mom start on KDP and find success. It took her 2 months, but it was a lot of hours that we put in to be able to find her process. I almost started with this discover, understand, serve idea with her, but found out very quickly, like she was having a hard time opening up the programs, seeing what to open and then what next step to go off. She was trying to use our process that we built, but it was just too convoluted for her. We use Google Docs. We use like our system is a custom built system for us and it didn't work for her. So now she just opens up a Word doc and then has everything written down and then just like through the Word doc steps through it instead of using Trello, instead of using other programs that we use. She built a custom process for her. I would, again, suggest finding something that works for you, build it into a process, and then build habits around that. I don't think there's like something I could say is like, you know what a habit needs to be? Every day, wake up and do 5 minutes of keyword. Like you have to kind of figure out your process. And then within your process, I think you're going to be able to build habits inside that. It's funny because I actually was messaging Nathaniel earlier today. I'm getting back into working out because it's January and we have done nothing but eat for the last 2 months, or at least I have. And I want to get back to working out. I have playlists that I have for workout songs. And I was just like, I want to refresh that. So I put playlists together for workout songs, but I also have playlists when I'm trying to figure out or learn something. So when I was learning editing, I have an Adobe editor playlist, and then like all the videos that I find that are helpful to me, I put in that playlist and then put that together. I normally leave it public so that other people can learn my process of doing things, but I would suggest that like if you're trying to build habits, find the videos that you can go to, or anytime you're stuck, go back to, and then start putting those into a playlist. And maybe start, before you do anything, start watching that playlist. So at least it like jogs or jump starts where you want to be. And then you can just get right back into it. Because something that, as we're helping a lot of people, I find difficult for them is to get back into the groove once they stop. They know how to do the research. They know how to do the design. They know how to do everything. Then life happens. They have to take a week off or go out of town or do something. It's like when they come back, then it's like Nathaniel was talking about that gears. The gears just don't quite line up, and it prevents them from taking action. But if you build a process, or at least a habit of going back and watching that playlist, then it'd be like, okay, now I remember how my process and how I can get back into my process. Something else that me and Nathaniel addressed a while ago is Is it better to spend one day a week and do the business, or is it better to spend each day? We went back and forth on that for a long time. I think I'm changing my mind, because I used to say, I think you just focus in on one thing a day and do it. But I almost think it's better if you can cut out like 20 minutes a day and just be consistent, so you're doing it throughout the week. That seems to be helping a lot more people, and actually putting it into your schedule. If you use the paper schedule like me, or whiteboards everywhere like me, or something like Nathaniel does, is actually have it on Google Calendar, like schedule out the time and make sure you're hitting those times daily. So if you're taking the kids to work and then if you're taking the kids to school and then going to work, do you have time after work before you pick up the kids to like spend 20 minutes on the business, or even on your phone doing some research? Like, just build in the time so that you can stay consistent that way throughout the week.
Yeah, I think that's really good. That's the one thing that I was going to say, is definitely like time management is a big thing. And the only way that you can be consistent is, maybe not the only way. For me, the only way I was able to be consistent is if things actually are on my calendar. So now I actually run my day in 20-minute increments, making sure that I'm hitting all the things that I want to do. On top of that, a habit that I have and that I'm getting back into the routine of now that we're past all holiday season, is having 3 things every day that I have to get done. And so those 3 things can vary widely. It could be get 100 listings done, or call this person. So it's not like they're equally balanced. But those 3 things like just are things that I can look at the end of the day and be like, did I get those done, and feel accomplished about them? So having some goals in the morning, waking up being like, okay, what's the 3 things I have to get done today? And then throughout the day, there's always distractions and things that come up. But before I go to sleep, I want to make sure that these 3 things are done. And it doesn't always happen. There are days that you have to like push it on to the next day. But for the most part, that keeps me kind of consistent. And it's just a habit that I personally have created. I probably heard it in a book or something like that before, but something that I've been doing on and off for the last 3 years, and something that I'm getting back into the groove of doing now, and just finding it helping me a lot as, there's been other things pressing on my schedule now. It's not just we have all day to work on this business anymore. So I was like, as long as I can get these 3 things done every day, then I'm feeling good about this business, and seeing the process of, taking action daily and being consistent actually still helping us grow, as those are our pillars, like we started the call on. So a little full circle moment there. Did you want to add anything to that before we?
Yeah, I guess I want to end on, no matter where you're at in your business, if you're just getting started, if you feel like you're kind of an expert in the space, I think we've touched on this a little bit, and something that we really need to do in our business is focus your efforts. We last year were very guilty of just being all over the place, helping people, working on our own business, going out of town, working on partnership deals. We were very unfocused. And coming to the end of last year, me and Nathaniel were both kind of unhappy of where the business was at. And then we said, okay, that's where we talked about changing hats, and like, who needs to focus on what part of the business, who do we need to work with, so we could take a lot of the time out of this, but still pursue it because it's something we're passionate about. Like teaching, who can we partner up with? So it's not like, that's not our full business. We don't want to be full-time teachers. We like working on the business. We like working with people on their business as consultants. And like Nathaniel's doing, I don't know if you have a name for it yet, but like going out and working with people that have audiences and be able to help them monetize those audiences in a lot of different interesting ways. POD as one of them. That's why we've started the Shopify journey. But focus your time, your energy, your efforts. We sell across multiple platforms. We sell on multiple products. We help a lot of people. Something that we are doing is cutting out a lot of the noise and really trying to focus our efforts. Find what my skills are, find what Nathaniel's skills are, and kind of get back to the basics. I think we can still help a lot of people, but in our zone of genius, as Christy would say. I am very good, or I feel very confident and have a lot of experience with analytics. I'm going to say SEO, even though I'm not a big fan of that term, but just understanding the data and the analytics to be able to process and know what the next step is for your business. I think that's why we had a lot of success in merch, because I was able to track all this stuff, kind of see the bigger picture, know what we should be focusing our efforts on, and that's kind of why that blew up. But for you in your business, that would be my suggestion. Focus, look at what's working for you, slowly add things in. Don't try to go too crazy, that we are extremely guilty of, so that you get overwhelmed and then it like slows down everything. If you want to go back and watch any of the videos that we were doing when I was trying to learn how to edit, you can see I'm just mentally drained, I'm fried, I'm angry, I'm aggravated. You can hear me talk about it on the call. Like, I just spent 4 hours trying to figure this out and I didn't get anywhere and it was a waste of my time and I stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, just slow things down. Nathaniel brings up this 1% better. I think that should be your focus. What are you working on? What skills are you trying to develop, and slowly get better over time instead of trying to rush everything and getting overwhelmed and then feeling crushed and then not making any progress.
Yeah, something Carol Woods just said in the comments I think is good, and something that we are practicing a lot more now is, instead of just worrying about the what I need to get done today, is thinking about like the schedule and what can I get done this month. So like I just said, you having those 3 things that I have to get done each day is good, but planning what those 3 things are going to be before the day starts is kind of the realization that me and Stephen have had maybe a month or 2 ago. We're like, okay, now we really need to practice. Like, let's get ahead of ourselves. Let's look at our schedule, a week, 2 weeks, even a month in advance, and be like, what are the actual things that we're going to be doing on each of those days? So I completely agree with you that we need to start just getting better at that. And it's all a process. We're learning along with you guys. So that is definitely true for us and our scheduling habits. But I think we're good to wrap that up here. We got to answer a good amount of questions, and we'll keep polling those throughout the weeks. And we're going to be trying some different things here on the Monday show too. Just ideas that me and Stephen are bouncing off of each other that we want to bring to these Monday nights, as these are live and we get to interact with you guys, which I really, really appreciate. As we've been putting a lot of time into YouTube, and I'm happy to see the growth over there. It's a lot more just numbers and graphs, and there's less names. So that's something I miss from Facebook and from here on Zoom. I really like just seeing your guys' names. So that was something I'm asking in the videos coming up. If you guys could just comment on the YouTube video, so at least I can see your names and who's still watching. And I really do appreciate all of you guys who have been just watching us over the years and see our growth and see the craziness and still stick with us. And hopefully we're providing you guys value here on these Monday nights, and it's not just all comedy or whatever you're sticking around for.
I just had an idea about talking about the scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can ask Conman to come on, because we had a call with him Friday. He's just a friend of ours, and we are trying to get better at like making visual aids to process things that we are doing. Because I think something that we do in-house is Nathaniel will have an idea or I'll have an idea. We'll bounce it off each other, kind of refine it, and then develop a job out of it, and then immediately kind of hand it off. But there's no visual aid or anything for it. I think a lot of people are interested in like how to work the schedule, how to build a process, and then like actually the visual side of that. Because that was very interesting to hear Conman say, like, it starts with a circle, then it goes to a square, and then if it's a triangle, then it's a question, then it's like an if this then that type of situation. Just like maybe seeing that process might help more people to go, oh, I can schedule out my workflow like this. I can use this program or Google Slides, whatever you want to use to kind of build out the idea. But I think it will help people to like track their progression through a process, so that if you do take a break, you can go, oh, I was here and here's the information. This is the process. Now I know what the next step is, so I don't get lost. Because I think that's something that Mom was having a hard time with. A lot of people that I'm working with on the side are having trouble with, is like, I don't remember where I'm at in the process. Even though I built it, I don't have like a visual aid to remind myself where to go. And I think with Mom, it was just a simple way to like look at one page. Then she could put a number or a tick next to it and just go, I was here. Now I can follow the next step. So just having that idea, and just wanted to say that out loud.
No, that's really good. And that's another one of those things of like, this is what we're going on in our actual business. That just happened Friday. It's now Monday. And Michelle said it in chat. It's mind mapping is what we are doing basically. And there are programs out there that we just learned about that we'll be using in our own personal business. So that's definitely something I'd like to have Conman on and talk about that as we've been going through that. That conversation Friday was really funny. I don't want to dig into it too much, but it was just funny because me and Stephen have always used mind mapping as this, like, you have to see the entire picture. So when we're doing mind mapping, it's like this disgusting looking graph.
Frustrated Conman a lot.
Yeah, it's this disgusting looking graph that spans from like day 1 to 10 years from now. Like, that's the vision that we have anytime we did a mind map. Like, that's the scope that it has to cover. But then working with Conman, he's like, no, I could just be like like this process, like this one particular thing that you're doing over and over, like that can be, it can be that focused in and zoomed in. So I think that'd be a good conversation to kind of rehash that conversation so we can have some more understanding and everybody can join that conversation. But also that is a very effective way that we're finding to work with others, is to have more visual representations of who's responsible for what and what happens at this point, what decisions do we have to make, all of that good stuff. So yeah, so like we said, more ideas for these Monday calls. It's not just going to be always we're grabbing questions and answering them. It'll be interviews or just having people on to talk about things like that, and trying to keep them up to date with what's going on in our business. At least that's what I like to do. So we're going to try and do that a lot more this year. We good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
If you want to, I guess, wrap up the call. That's what I like when you wrap up the call. Okay. I like how you kind of take all of it and they can process it and make it.
Oh, like a breakdown of what we just talked about. Okay. I don't
know if you want to quickly run through every question, but I think the major points that we hit is like me saying patterns, looking at your accounts, looking at your business almost like a puzzle, and you're trying to solve it to decode your success so that you can do that more, like by cutting out the stuff that's not working and focusing in on the stuff that is working. That would be my way of wrapping up this call, is just think of patterns. I'm probably going to have a lot more videos talking about patterns because I noticed that's like a go-to word that I keep going to, and people are like, okay, well, what does that look like? And I go, I need to work on that. Like put it into better context and maybe have a visual aid to kind of show how to go through patterns in different parts of your business. But wrapping up the call, I like when you do that.
Yeah, as I'm looking at the way you answered a lot of the questions that I pulled was, I think it does go back to what we talked about last week, which is just taking action and being consistent. I think that we've had so much success with that, and while it depends on exactly what question is being asked, how we answered it, but that's kind of the underlining tone of just, let me pull one of the questions. So you talked about taking, that's what I go. You started playing around with print on demand, want to be a bigger part of my business. Like, how do I do that? How do I scale a business? Well, you have to take action and you have to be consistent in taking that action. So Stephen gave you some ideas of how to take action, but at the end of the day, we're like, whatever you're going to be consistent at. And the only way that you're going to know that you can be consistent at that is by taking action daily. So I know they play on each other so much, but like that's kind of the through line of what we're saying here, is that you might not always know what you're doing. You might not always feel like this is the best thing that I'm spending all of my time on right now. But as long as you're taking action and looking at what you're doing and try to, calculate what is the best thing for you to do. Like, okay, I spent 5 hours on making one listing. Can I cut that down now? Or is it always just going to take me 5 hours? So can I find more people to help me, cut the time down and, just trying to problem solve along the way. And I think that's what we're really good at, trying to be your wingman and solve those problems so you can be more consistent in your business and see growth faster than we did because it took us a long time. It's still a process that we're going through. So we're just here to help you guys out and share our failures, our lessons that we've learned along the way. So we very much appreciate you guys. I wanted to say, again, I appreciate everyone who's been following us for a while. It's just been a wild journey teaching wherever we've been doing it, Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, all these places.
We know that it hasn't been easy to follow us at all the different
even
places.
Tonight, having people still be like, oh yeah, I found the call tonight. Like, it's been how long we've been doing this, and that's still a problem.
Or people personally messaging me saying, where's it at on the YouTube channel? And I go, it's on the wrong channel. Yeah. I apologize.
So there's still a lot of hiccups along the way, but we very much appreciate you guys helping us out. And one thing that I feel like we're doing pretty well right now is actually on the YouTube page. We have a playlist and we have videos coming out fairly consistently. We're trying to keep it organized over there. So if you want to stay up to date with what we've got going on, YouTube is kind of the place that we're putting most of our time and energy nowadays. We will continue to do these Monday calls. We like doing the interactive part, and we want to share, a lot of live things that are going on in our businesses, not just pre-recorded content, but even these are going up on YouTube as well. So if you want to catch up on anything, if you missed part of this call, if you want to, see what we have coming in the future, all the Shopify stuff that I'm finally starting to record, that's all going up on YouTube and is a lot easier to find and keep organized and, even getting a notification when our videos go live. What a novel idea. So we're very happy for that. We appreciate you guys a lot. We hope that you have a great week. We're here for you. Anything that we can do, just reach out and let us know. But until next week, see you guys around.
Take it easy, guys.